My name is Garrett Bowman, Garrett Bowman, and the name of our farming operation is Bowman Farms.
Okay.
And now when we do the interview, you can just look at me and
Okay.
tell me that's not there.
Yep, okay.
And so let's start out. Just tell me your name and a little bit about your farming operation, where it's located, and the crops that you grow. And
Okay. My name is Garrett Bowman, and we farm mainly in the West Modesto area. Farm about 550 acres of almonds.
Relax.
And
Okay, I'm gonna move this in just a tiny bit.
deep breath. That's what my tennis teacher tells me all the time. Breathe. Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah.
You ready?
Go. Yep.
Are you a first-generation farmer? Or
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, so just
Okay.
take me through.
So I'm a third generation farmer in the Modesto area. My family actually has farming roots that started on the East Coast years ago. My grandfather moved here in the early 60s and bought land west of Modesto, and I'm the third generation here, and we're continuing to farm.
Got a minute.
Can we try that one more time?
Is he loud enough?
What's that?
Voice-wise, do you want him to come up?
Yeah.
Sounds pretty soft.
Can you speak up
Okay,
just a tad
yeah.
bit? Yeah, for me. And the other thing too is in between like the question and the answer, just give it a pause so that there's no overlap.
Okay.
You know, like the
Hold
end of
off
her,
on
the
it.
end of her question might be blending with the beginning of your answer.
Gotcha.
So just
Okay.
a quick pause. Perfect. We can get that one again.
You
if
want
you
to do
don't
that
mind.
again?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a third generation farmer here in the West Modesto area. Our farming heritage actually dates back a long time ago on the East Coast. My family was a dairy farmer there, and my grandfather moved here in the early 60s, started farming, and my dad continued on, and now I am.
And can you discuss, as a multi-generational farming family, the importance of family farming to you and in sustaining the resources on the farm for future generations?
The family farming for us is a way of life. It's very important to us to conserve the resources. We live on the farm, we drink the groundwater, our kids play in the orchard, they climb the trees, and so it's important to me to farm in an ethical manner, a sustainable manner, in a way that will allow my kids to continue to farm in years to come.
Great.
So what does it mean to you to farm sustainably? What does that word mean to you?
To farm sustainable to me means to farm in a way that promotes food safety, the safety of the environment, so that future generations can continue to farm and use the resources on down the road.
So moving into talking about your irrigation now, can we discuss some of the technology and practices that you use to optimize your irrigation, how much water you put on, and how you make those timing decisions?
Most of, probably 80% of our acreage is under low volume pressurized system, drip and micro sprinklers. We schedule using a variety of methods. Probably the first method we use for scheduling would be based off of forecasted ET for any given week. We monitor that with continuous feed soil probes, similar to like a PureSense system. And then we check that up with pressure bomb readings to ensure that the plants are not under any stress.
Excellent.
Keep your volume up.
Okay.
Kind of the same question for nitrogen fertilizers. What practices you use to ensure the efficient use of nitrogen fertilizers, and how you base your applications throughout the season, whether it's sampling and budgeting and that sort of thing.
So I'll start out with a typical year. We will typically make a nitrogen application in the fall to set us up for the next year. We make another application in the springtime around bloom to ensure that the tree is well supplied going into bloom. Then we take leaf analysis in April to give us a forecast of what our nitrogen will end up in the fall. and then we take a crop estimate and adjust our rates accordingly, and we shoot for around 70 units of nitrogen per per estimated 1,000 meat pounds.
And how has that changed over the years in terms of when you sample, and a lot of that is evolving now, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, for us, a more traditional method would have been a large application in the fall, and then another application in the spring, and probably one more application midsummer. And then we would check our nitrogen levels in July and see where we were.
So I'm going to ask you to say that again, and then I would love to get that on film about what you used to do in terms of making those adjustments in July, and then now we're looking more at an April time frame, and how that helps you in terms of being able to respond for this season. Do you mind doing that?
Okay, so start with
how you would do it before and make those take those samples in July.
Okay.
And now you have this information to do this stuff in April, and how that's helped you as a.
Okay.
1 second.
Yeah.
In the past, our nitrogen management plan was to take leaf samples in July of the prior year, see where we ended up, and then we would make adjustments for the following year. We would start off with a fairly large application of nitrogen in the fall, followed by a application around bloom time, and then one in early summer. We've evolved from that to where we are making a small application in the fall, followed by a small application around bloom time. Then we take tissue analysis in early April, use the university model to predict what our July levels will be, and then we make in-season adjustments based on estimated crop load.
Perfect. Okay, so tell me more about. Well, do you have water quality issues, or is that something you need to?
There's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then can we talk about your integrated pest management programs and the tactics you use to ensure the judicious use of pesticides, sampling and monitoring, and that sort of thing?
We monitor, I need to start over. In our pest control programs, we monitor the pests as they arrive each year. For worms, we're out trapping and making applications based on insect growth, monitor our weeds to determine that our herbicides are applied at when the weeds are most susceptible. When we do determine a pest, we look at any mechanical means that may be available to control that pest, as well as chemical means. We look at all our options available and make a decision based on the effects to the environment, cost, ease of application.
And can you talk a little about your participation in the California Almond Sustainability Program, when you first participated, how many modules you've done, and what that process was like for you to get involved?
I don't remember when I first started. I think I first sat down at a workshop at an almond board conference maybe 2 or 3 years ago when they were first starting. I did several modules then. I've been to a workshop since then and did some modules, and now I've been working online to attempt to complete all the modules for each of our blocks.
So I'm going to ask you to answer that again and just incorporate the question. I first got involved with the California Almond Sustainability Program 3 years ago, and now you're starting to move to filling those out online. Can you do that for me?
I first got involved with the Almond Board Sustainability Project several years ago at a workshop, and I've went to several workshops since then, and now have moved to completing them online for each of our blocks.
So, can you talk a little about doing the online? Have you done all your?
I just played around with it for
You're kind of
about a week.
You're starting to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not probably comfortable talking about.
Probably not a lot. I've spent maybe an hour on it. So.
What about in terms of, can you talk sort of theoretically then about having all this stuff online and how that will help you just if nothing else, make it easier.
Yeah,
Right?
I think that by having the modules online will make it much easier to complete them for each ranch. Our records are right at our fingertips as we sit down at our computers. We can come in and work at it for an hour, 30 minutes, go away, come back again. We can do it in the evenings and the early mornings. Much more easy to access it, I think.
Excellent. And have you learned anything from your participation in the sustainability program in terms of where you compare to other growers? Has it made you think about differently about certain aspects of your farming operation?
I would, oh, sorry.
Go for it.
I would say that what I have learned from the modules is that it confirms that what we're doing is what is current recommended practices. Sometimes I have questions about whether we should be monitoring things differently, or it's good things to think about and keep us right on the cutting edge.
And why do you believe that individual growers should participate in the sustainability program? What does it do for the industry as well as for growers individually?
I think it's important for growers to participate, to tell the rest of the world how we're growing almonds, that we are growing them in a sustainable manner, in an environmentally safe manner. And I think for individual growers, it's good to just see how your practices match up to the rest of the industry.
Okay, and just if I can ask you an almond board related question in terms of what the almond board does for you as a grower and how you feel about how your assessment dollars are spent.
One second, sorry. Can you hear this? Okay. Okay, whenever you're ready.
I feel that the almond board is a very important part of the industry as far from the aspect of marketing and developing new markets and creating new demand. And as an in-the-field grower, I really think that the production research is extremely valuable to me.
And then just the tour question in terms of the value of having regulators who are establishing these rules actually come into the field and see firsthand how almonds are grown.
I think that it's important for the regulators to come out in the field, meet real people, and we can show them what we're doing, how we're addressing certain issues, and that we do care about the environment and yeah.
You want to take another shot at that? 'Cause it was really
Yeah.
good.
I think that it is important for regulators to come out to the field and meet real people, see the issues that we face and what we're doing to address them.